Let's start with superlative adjectives. These rules of superlative adjectives are really similar to comparative adjectives. So if you understood what we just learned, you are not going to have any problem with this. Okay, so the use it changes. So when do we use superlative adjectives? We use them to compare one object, person, place, animal, etc. in a group. Okay, in a group. So sorry, in a group. So let's see the rules. Okay, rule number one: adjectives with one syllable, as in the comparative, you have to add the word the and est at the end of the adjective. So in this order, this structure, you write the word the plus the adjective, and finally you add est at the end of the adjective. Okay, so one example that we have here is Mr. Burns is the richest in Springfield. He's the richest person in Springfield. Yes, he has a lot of money. So you are comparing this person in all the cities in Springfield. That is the group. Okay. So next, rule number two: adjectives ending in y, you have to erase the letter y and write a letter I. And finally, write the est. Okay. Don't forget to add the word the before the adjective. Okay, so for example, funny, the superlative form of funny is the funniest. Okay, so for example, we have Krusty is the funniest clown in Springfield. Okay, rule number three: when one adjective ends in the pattern consonant, vowel, consonant, you have to double the last consonant and add est. Obviously, not forgetting the word the. Okay, so we have here again the adjective fat. Okay, fat is F-A-T, that is consonant, vowel, consonant. So you have to double the letter T and add est. Okay, so the superlative form of this adjective is the fattest. Okay, so example, Homer is the fattest in the Simpsons family. Okay, so you are comparing Homer with all the family, all this group. Okay, so the last rule, that is not a rule, more than a rule, is something that you have to do. Okay, is to memorize these irregular adjectives. Okay, we have good, bad, far, and much. Okay, the superlative form of good is the best. The superlative of bad is the worst. Superlative of far are the farthest or the furthest. Okay, and the superlative form of much is the most. Okay, so we have a summary here of the rules of superlative adjectives. First rule: when you have a one syllable adjective, you just add est at the end of the adjective and the word the before the adjective. So for example, rich, the richest, and long, the longest. The second rule, you have to apply this rule when you have an adjective that ends in y, as in funny or crazy. So you have to drop letter y, add letter I and est. Okay, and don't forget the word the. Okay, so funny is the funniest, the superlative form, and crazy, the craziest. Okay, the third rule is when you have consonant, vowel, consonant pattern in the adjective at the end. Okay, you have to double the last consonant, in this case letter T, and in this case letter G. Okay, so the superlative form of fat is the fattest, and the superlative form of big is the biggest. Okay, and the last one, you have to memorize these adjectives, okay, in their superlative forms. So the superlative form of good is the best, and the superlative of bad is the worst. Okay, and just to finish, we have here a big summary of everything that we have learned in this video. Okay, we have comparatives and we have superlatives. Okay, so here you have each rule that we mentioned before. Okay, and also we have two extra rules that you can learn if you want to expand your knowledge. Okay, so it has a one syllable that you just have to the comparative er and to the superlative est. One syllable ending in e, you just add r and st because you already have the letter e. Okay, one syllable that ends in consonant, vowel, consonant, you double the last consonant, g, t, gt, and you add er and est. Okay, two syllables ending in y as happy or crazy, you just drop, or you erase or remove the letter y and you add ier and iest. Okay, and this is something new for you. Okay, when you have an adjective that has two or more syllables, you don't add er or est at the end. You have to add a new word. In this case, for comparatives, you add the word more, but before the adjective. Okay, and for the superlative, you have to add the most, also before the adjective. Okay, so famous, more famous, the most famous. Beautiful, more beautiful, the most beautiful. Okay, and some exceptions, as I said, to the rules are good and bad. That the comparative is better and worse, and the superlatives are the best and the worst. I hope it helps you. Okay, so that's all for today.